morning, everybody. Swam through the traffic? I did. Just reached in time for my session. But all's good. I have been entrusted to talk about transformation and the talent strategy to really deal with the transformation. So I'll bring in some business aspects. I think Pushkar has done a lot of justice in talking about what is future HR looking like. How is AI playing into it? How is technology playing into HR? Now let's talk about the business transformation. And before I start talking about HR strategies to look at business transformation, let's understand what transformation is. Because if I ask you, I'm sure you will all give me the definition and the English word meaning of transformation. But what does it entail? What are we talking about in today's world? How is the world changing? Let's start looking at that. So, while we talk about the transformation, do you know how many organizations in the current business context are going through the transformation? Anyone? Come on, anyone? When we talk about digital transformation, 96% of the organizations are going through digital transformation. This is as per HBR. And if we talk about the large-scale transformations, and of course I'm talking about where complete strategy or business alignment or the market is changing, 1/3 of the organizations right now are going through those transformations. That's the scale we are talking about, and that's how we want to talk about our talent strategy. How many organizations have been successful in producing long-lasting results of this transformation? Any guesses? Louder. It's 12%. It's 12%, as low as that. And you know what is the kind of money, effort, time, energy that goes into creating these transformations, and then 12% of the organizations succeed in that. Isn't that an irony of running something so strategic and still not being able to get the results that we want out of it? And as we move forward on the transformation, let's look at, and some of the names you'll immediately recall, some of you are from those organizations, which have been the top 20 transformations of the last decade. And what have they done? Do the names sound familiar? Most successful organizations in transforming themselves as per the landscape. Does anybody know what was Netflix's original business? Absolutely. They started with a rental business of DVDs by mail. And then they reformed themselves on streaming videos, and today they are one of the largest content providers. Tripled revenue. And that's what you call transformation, totally rethinking what your business should look like, and then aligning your strategies to that, involving the talent, of course. Similarly, I think all of you understand Microsoft and Adobe. What did they do? Once very, very successful packaged software business, completely phased out. Now they're subscription-based cloud services. Again, market share, their stock prices, you can see. These companies have been thinking ahead and involving every possible aspect of strategy to succeed. What happened to Nokia? Downfall. Why? Because of the complacence that I'm the best, not being able to innovate, not being able to think ahead of the future, living in the current times that I'm happy. And that's the importance of transformation, dear friends. How do we align it with the talent strategy? So, I'm talking about the Harvard Business Review reports. During my time in Harvard, we did multiple case studies. And most of the business situations, when broken down, it was actually leading to people and talent. And I'll come to a few of them, and probably you may want to look up the EY case study. You may want to look at Boeing case study. All these case studies are ultimately about leadership, talent or people issues that led to the problems. So, we saw some of the successful organizations. What is on the back of it? Wonderful results, wonderful outcomes, and behind that is a painful transformation. Why do organizations succeed? Because they have the ability to reposition themselves to create a new future. And then to be able to leverage the purpose and mission which drives the purpose. And transformation is behind that. And this picture, actually, if you look at it, it justifies the essence of transformation. It's a simple picture of a butterfly. But what it goes through to become such a beautiful image, it's such a beautiful creature, is all about the troubles that it goes through. Transformation is never easy. It's very hard at the start, it's messy in the middle, but the end result is always beautiful. So when things are messy, when the hard, difficulty at the start of it, stay with it. It's important that you stay with it to ensure that the transformation is coming through. There is something called informed pessimism. Transformation has to happen. That the transformation is happening. But what's in your head? We all human beings are driven by that psychology of informed pessimism. हो रहा है, कुछ ना कुछ होगा, इससे कुछ नहीं होगा. Those are the thought processes which come in the head. देखते हैं क्या होगा. Maybe it's another bubble. But sometimes we fail to recognize the power of things that need to move fast, especially in today's world and today's scenario. So, why transformation? And I'm just throwing some light on what are the challenges today. What kind of world we exist in, because if you want to craft a talent strategy and talent situation, then you need to know what are the challenges you're dealing with. First one is, look at the economic situations and fluctuations that we have today. Geopolitical, socio-political, multiple things. And businesses need to transform because of these situations, you need to look at diversification of the market. You may need to look at trade policies in a different way. Talent becomes very expensive when these things happen. Your talent supply chain or your resource supply chain gets broken. You remember COVID times when there was a global shortage of chips? Suddenly, laptops, machineries, everything became short. Supply chain was broken. And we need to keep these things in mind that this can happen anytime. Are we ready for it? Then we have now client experience. Anybody who wants to succeed has to create a hyper-personalization, has to create an experience that is driving the differentiation. Businesses are struggling with it. Everybody is almost doing the same thing as your competitors. Everybody's going on top of the other on a daily basis. How do you create a talent which is looking at the future? Hyper-automation. It's the time where you want fast plans, quick actions, and blitzkrieg results. How do you manage that? Everybody understands that there is natural language programming, there is machine learning. I want quick virtual assistants. This is the way it should be done. And within few days, I want the results. So not just quality and hyper-personalization, speed also becomes important now. It's a challenge. Then we are looking at sustainability. Suddenly you're looking at everyone wants sustainability-driven solutions. And everything has to have that sustainable way of working. How are you saving energy? How are you saving resources? Is your way of working sustainable? Are you looking at carbon footprints? When I talk to clients sometimes, they're asking for these things. Are we able to define these things for our organization? This is the today. And then, of course, the flavor of the season, Gen AI, right? Everybody's talking about Gen AI. Do we understand the importance of it? Do we understand what is the expectation from the market? Because when something comes into being and it's new, everybody talks about it. I'm not going to put you in a spot, but think in your head. Right now in your head, can you define Gen AI? How do you deal with it then? What are the talent solutions to these challenges? If you're looking for a magic potion that's coming up, There's none. Can we simplify it? Thinking ahead of time? Yes, I can do that. Our organization has gone through a very big transformation recently, which is global, covering many countries, many geographies, and many businesses. So I can talk about a few things that work. Adaptive capability model, what does this mean? Are you just looking at talent solutions where you're hiring because there is a demand? Are you fulfilling positions? Are you creating a workforce for future? Are you thinking ahead? Because all of us, most of us are from technology organizations and other industries where we know if there is a position comes up, you reach out to recruitment consultants, or you go some subcontracting way, or you go to colleges and get your talent. What is the other way of looking at talent? I'll come to it. Data-driven insights. Do you know what is the competency of your workforce? As an HR leader, do you understand where does my workforce start? What is the baselining of my workforce? We can do that. Imagine you have an open position for 2 capital market domain experts. And the data throws you that in Mumbai, in this location, in this business, you have these experts. They have completed 3 years in the same project. You can pull them out and rotate. Do you need to go out and hire? Are we looking at those solutions? Have you already embarked on it? Upskilling and reskilling, everybody talks about, and we will continue to talk about. But do we have better way of upskilling and reskilling people? And are the people upskilling and reskilling? Is the same people in the organization you're continuously doing upskilling, reskilling? Are you looking at the community at a larger basis? And then we're, of course, talking about driving the behaviors within the organization. And that can only come when your employee motivation is there. Hiring right, creating that pride in the organization. But do you as HR leaders understand what are the SDGs? United Nations has put 17 SDGs for us. Do you know those goals? How would you drive it within the organization? If we don't keep ourselves aware and understanding of the situation or the things that are changing around us, we're falling short of the expectations of the business. And the last one is, of course, building the leadership mindset. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. We all understand that almost everything is driven when the culture is created by the leadership, because if leaders don't walk the talk, then there is a problem. There was a study done where we saw, some of the successful transformation organizations, what was common? Leadership was completely in that, or there was a transformation officer role that was created, or there was a transformation office that was created where leaders participated. In the last few years, you see the roles, Chief Digital Officer, Chief Transformation Officer. We've never seen that before, 5-6 years that we've started. Leadership has to be involved, and for that, we are the leaders sitting in the room. Half of us interview the leaders who are coming to the organization. We are building the leadership development programs. Are we doing run-of-the-mill programs? How are we changing our own approach to leadership building? And then, of course, this is a complete cohesion that you need to build. For that, you need star HR teams. If you have HR teams who say, I love being in HR because I like working with people, you're in trouble, my friend. You've heard these answers, right? Because I love working with people. Not going to work? So build star HR team for future. How do you achieve all of this? There are a few things. Align talent strategy to business needs. Do you understand the business well? Do you understand the motives? Do you understand the financials? Do you understand what talent strategies are leading to the right decision making? You have to understand all of that to be able to craft a talent strategy. Understand the business very well. If you understand that, you'll be able to craft a talent strategy which is not exclusive to what is needed by today. Was there a rocket science? No, but how many of us do that? Assess the current landscape of talent. And I know, for example, that, my organization needs talent constantly. The supply chain has to be a constant supply chain where the war for the talent is very high in the market, especially on certain skills. What do? Then I start tapping the talent pool which others are not. And as I said, I'll come to that. What is that talent pool that I spoke about? Yeah? Then place skills at the center of strategy. When I say place skills at the center, all your talent decisions have to be objective, no subjectivity into it. You're not collating the promotion list then. You're not asking managers, who are your promotions? No, then you're suggesting these are the people at this competency level and take an objective decision, not because the person has spent 5 years in the grade or not because the person has been working with you for 12 years. No, this is the competency level. But for that, you need to know the competency levels. Are you prepared for it? Are you making the decisions on these things for talent? Are you in the decision-making seat, or are you collating the data and revalidating the data? Then we are saying that employee experience needs to be looked at, and tailored employee experience, because this is the talent. If you don't retain them, you're spending so much time in developing them, training them, hiring them. How do you retain them? Is it money? Is it just, throwing the counter offers when they are leaving the organization? All of us do that, right? Oh, you're leaving at this salary? Let me give you the offer. But have you been able to get that emotional contract in place? How do you build that? The retention strategies should be very effective. And I know it's a very motherhood statement, it should be effective, but what do you do that? You craft an experience which is really looking at people experience. And for that, you need to understand your people. There are 3 motives, in my view, my opinion, that people work with: emotions, logic, power. Know your people. Which is the category? By generation, you can diversify. This generation works more with emotion or with power. Or, you of course can't generalize, but need to know what are the 3 motives that are driving people. And that's very, very important, that you create a hyper-personalized experience even for employees, for them to stay and let them be with the organization. And then what is measured is successful. Gone are the areas of gray. Today, we are in a situation in the times where even emotions can be measured. So look at what can be measured and what is the impact that you're creating. Google. Because I'm talking all of this, if I don't give you the example, you'll say that, how does it work? Google has created 20% time policy, which means you can take 20% time off your primary goals. Do you know Gmail and Google News are a result of that? Because 20% time you can innovate, you can think, you can propose the ideas. It's now the cornerstone of Google. They're very proud about it. Amazon, the bar raiser program. If anybody here from Amazon, they would know the leadership hiring process is extremely painful, long-drawn process, but they ensure they hire the right leaders. And these things impact. The overall culture of the organization gets driven by that. So they pay attention to that. Simple policies, simple practices, but whole difference that's making in the organization. Our tagline for Capgemini is "Get the future you want," in true sense. I don't direct people that, you should do this, this is where your career should go. The common term, have you heard career pathing? We don't do that. You choose your own path, you build your own path. I'm not going to do that for you. And how do you do that? There are a few things that, we do in the organization. And let me talk about, I said, how do you build talent which is different? Our first program is Tech for Positive Future. We're very proud of this program because it's lakhs and lakhs of people which have, benefited this program. I realized that it's not easy, for me to tackle the situation of talent by regular talent hiring. What did we do? We went around to different places in the country, remote places. We set up digital labs. We started training people. There were 2 things I achieved. One, and this has been going on for a few years now because we realized the talent lead. One, I broke the poverty cycle, Because we are targeting remote areas, people who are talented but not getting the right opportunity. We are training them, making them employable. One person into a corporate job, the economic strata of that family changes. That cycle of poverty breaks. And these people, when they join our organization, they're eternally grateful they want to stay with us. And I have created then a talent pool for myself. Not just that, the people we are training are being hired by other organizations. So it's a community development that's happening, and I get my talent in place in large numbers because we are training them and we are going to places where nobody is tapping the talent. Diverse and inclusive workforce. When I talk about diversity and inclusivity, when I ask people, what are you doing? Training women. Women leadership programs. Where do you sit? Same bucket? Think. Do women need more training? Are they lesser trained than any other gender? Are we creating an ecosystem where everybody can flourish? All genders, all ethnicity, all races. Are we understanding women in their 50s who are going through menopause? Are we creating a structure for them? There are women who have small children. What do they know? What do they need? They need the support from their family members. Are we creating enough paternity support? Men need to be supported in the organization to be able to support their partners. We need to think big. Women leadership programs are not going to help. We need to think how we are developing the ecosystem for people to thrive. And then similarly, we have more than 500 people who are neurodiverse and people with disability. Again, everybody is talking about neurodiversity, other end of the spectrum. How many of you have worked on it? How many of you have job coaches to enable them? It's a big, big talent pool for you. And again, you're taking care of those people, you're creating talent for yourself. And trust me, the initial assessment, I have enough number of people to assess that. Managers are saying these people are more productive. Yeah? Then we are talking about ring fencing the top talent. Pushkar touched upon it. I will not spend too much time, but create the right measures to be able to, ring fence the talent. It's not about pay or salary. It's not. Or else, there are many organizations who proudly put themselves on certain percentile of the market salary, and sometimes at 65-70% of the market salary, and they still see very low attrition rates. And we need to study those things that, are happening. And it's all about differentiating the performance. If you don't take care of your top performers in a differentiated way, they will not stay. Feedback, which is more holistic, it's not manager dependent only. You have to remove manager biases from the system. It is the duty of everyone, because in larger organization you can fall prey to that. And then of course leadership mobility. Why I say leadership mobility, if leaders don't move around, they don't understand the organization well. Growing within the same vertical year on year on year on year will of course cause you affinity towards the people of that place and to that business. Then you'll not think large. So mobility is extremely important. And then upskilling and reskilling, I will not talk too much about it. I know that Gen AI was coming into being. I'll just give you an example for that. Our CEO committed 18 months back to the market on a huge investment of Gen AI, anticipating what's going to happen. Today, 96% of our organization is trained on Gen AI, including me and including some of my colleagues from Capgemini sitting here. It was mandatory for everyone. Because we meet clients, we talk to people, are we Gen AI'd? And that's how you create a strategy, not your business people just to be trained on that. Everybody in the organization should be able to talk about it. Then autonomy to control your career is because we say get the future you want. We tell everybody, this is your competency required for the job, and everybody gets assessed up to manager level. Everybody, every year. This is where you sit on your proficiency levels. You want to change your job, you want to grow, enhance your proficiency, these are the training programs, these are the things you need to do for that. You choose. I want to move to business, maybe want to probably take my next role as financial controller. I can see for that level of financial controller, these are the competencies I need, and I need to assess myself. I'll do it, and then I'm ready for the job. When the position comes up, I will define my career. So it's in your hands. What are the key takeaways I spoke about? I just want to simplify. Have a clear strategy, clear ambition. Lead with capabilities. Learn what your capabilities are. If you don't know the benchmark of your capabilities in the organization, you'll not be able to progress further. Use data, use insights for that. There are multiple, technologies available. Know who are your people who will drive the value in the organization. Know your top talent. Don't create top talent lists after lists. These are my 10%, 20%. But create something where they will enhance their value creation for the organization. And then, sustainability. Sustainable change. Think again in your head. How many of you drive sustainable HR practices? What are those? Can you define that? You're leading the teams. If you can't define it, then it's going to be difficult because that's the need of the hour. And then, as I said, use technology. Pushkar has talked enough and more about it, what's available and what can you do and how much is available in that space. I think you should go ahead with that. And then please understand your stakeholders. It's not just managers, business, but it's also your market, your people, your, everybody who's driving your organization. I come to end of the presentation. What is the secret sauce? Keep talent at core. As I said, most of the organizations fail in their transformation because of not being able to keep up with the talent. Transformation is not done to the employees. It's driven by employees. If you can define that, if you can do that, you'll be successful.
Let's hear it for Aarti, everybody.